All season long, we've been talking about queer people that push the boundaries of societal norms, fighting for a better life for the LGBTQ plus community in America and abroad. What we haven't really focused on is those who push back against the queer rights movement, the moral majority, made up of a Baptist preacher, an orange juice talk show host, and a conservative state legislator. The evangelical right forced queer activists to change their approach, organizing grassroots movements to fight for their rights. I'm Lexi Harrington, and welcome to Everyone's Gay, a look into queer history. Much of the anti-gay rhetoric during the late 1970s and the 1980s came from the moral majority, created and run by Baptist minister Jerry Falwell. The moral majority was a predominantly Southern-oriented organization of the Christian right, and they first publicized their anti-homosexual rhetoric through fundraising letters and Christian broadcasting in the 1970s. The moral majority refrained from directly speaking out against gays, feminists, and pro-abortion parties, and instead use the term pro-family to articulate their point. Later, as the organization gained more influence in the 1980s, their rhetoric became more explicit in their stance on gay rights, as they characterized the movement as an attack on the American family. Jerry Falwell expressed that because gays were rejected by most of society, they had no choice but to prey on the young, and were therefore a threat to children and families. The moral majority engaged in political activity in a variety of ways, but is most known as an early supporter of Ronald Reagan's presidential campaign. After Reagan's victory, Falwell attributed Reagan's success directly to the moral majority, and they continued to have a great influence in his presidency. By the end of Reagan's presidential administration, the Christian right was generally in a phase of decline. Disbanding the moral majority in 1989 in Las Vegas, Falwell declared, "Our goal has been achieved. The religious right is solidly in place, and religious conservatives in America are now in for the duration."
Time to get up, kids. You too, Orange Bird. My twins love 100% orange juice from Florida any time of day. It comes many ways and many brands. So wholesome. Mothers can serve all they want for just pennies a glass.
More, please.
Sure. A day without orange juice is like a day without sunshine.
In addition to Jerry Falwell and the moral majority, Anita Bryant is one of the largest voices in the anti-gay rights movement. A former Miss Oklahoma and brand ambassador for the Florida Citrus Commission. In 1977, Dade County, Florida passed an ordinance that prohibited discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. Bryant led a highly publicized campaign to repeal this ordinance as the leader of a coalition named Save Our Children. The campaign was based on conservative Christian beliefs regarding the sinfulness of homosexuality and the perceived threat of homosexual recruitment of children. The campaign marked the beginning of organized opposition to gay rights that spread across the nation. Jerry Falwell went to Miami to help Bryant, and throughout her campaign, she made horrible comments on the LGBTQ plus community, including referring to gay people as human garbage. During October of 1977, at a press conference in Iowa, reporters began questioning Anita Bryant about her national crusade against homosexuals. During this question, gay rights activist Tom Higgins threw a pie in Bryant's face. This was a common approach to humiliate political opponents while avoiding actual injury. Here's a video of the event to act as some comic relief for this really intense episode.
We went into a place called Norfolk, Virginia, and were met with protest and all kinds of problems. And
Security agent, security agent. No, let him stay.
No.
Let him stay.
Well, at least it's a fruit pie. Huh.
Let's pray for him right now. Anita, let's pray. Anita, why don't you pray? That's all right.
Father, we want to thank you for the opportunity of coming to Des Moines. And Father, I want to ask that you forgive him.
That we love him.
And that we love him. And that we're praying for him.
Following Bryant's campaign built on a rhetoric of fear-mongering and homophobia, the city ordinance was repealed in 1977 by a 2-to-1 margin. It would be another 21 years before the county passed a similar law that protects residents from discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. And after the win in Dade County, a few other counties around the country began seeing an opportunity to repeal city ordinance protecting homosexuals. The Briggs Initiative, officially titled California Proposition 6, was a ballot initiative seeking to ban gays and lesbians from working in California's public school system. Sponsored by the conservative legislator from Orange County, John Briggs, the initiative provided that public school teachers, teachers' aides, administrators, or counselors could be fired if the employee was found to have engaged in homosexuality activity and conduct. The initiative also provided that a person could not be hired if they were gay. In addition, you could even be fired for just being pro-gay rights, even if you were straight. A coalition of activists, including Sally Gearhart, Billy Krause, Harvey Milk, who we'll talk about in our next episode, among others, mobilized to fight the initiative under the slogan, come out wherever you are. It became known as the No on 6 campaign, where gay men and lesbians went door to door in their cities and towns across the state to talk about the harm the initiative would cause. Gay men and lesbians were encouraged and did come out to their families, neighbors, co-workers. They spoke in their churches and community centers. They sent letters to their local editors and otherwise revealed to the general population that gay people really were everywhere, including those that they knew and cared about. The initiative was defeated on November 7th, 1978, and lost even in Briggs' own Orange County, a conservative stronghold for the state. When we talk about the gay rights movement, a lot of the rhetoric is around changing the social norms already established at the time. But it's also important to recognize that there was a movement working actively against the gay rights movement. But through local activism, in the case of California, the gay rights activists were able to fight the evangelical movement. And while the moral majority, along with Anita Bryant's work, are credited with making a lasting contribution to American politics by establishing the religious right, they are also a motivational force for gay and lesbian politics to adapt and fight against. As Florida Atlantic University's communications professor, Fred Fijas, states, while the Stonewall riots of 1969 may have marked the beginning of the modern lesbian and gay movement, the campaigns of 1977 and 1978 marked the emergence of a national, politically self-conscious lesbian and gay community. To learn more about the moral majority and efforts to fight against the conservative movement, check out these titles. With God on Our Side, The Rise of the Religious Right in America. It's a 6-episode miniseries that focuses on the rise of the religious right from the conservative perspective. The miniseries, When We Rise, based on the book by activist Cleve Jones, which shows the grassroots organizing against the Briggs Initiative in episode 3. Also, check out Cleve Jones's book with the same title. We'll be talking about Cleve in our last episode of the season, coming soon. And lastly, check out the movie Anita, coming soon, which stars Ashley Judd and Neil Patrick Harris and tells the story of Anita Bryant. I'm Alexis Harrington, and this has been Everyone's Gay, a look into queer history. If you liked this video, but don't like the moral majority, make sure to leave a like below, hit subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, find us on social media at Everyone's Gay Queer History. We are on Facebook and Instagram. Also, we have swag, so check out our Redbubble shop for stickers, mugs, and water bottles. There's a link in the description below, and it's also all over our social media, so make sure to check that out. Again, I'm Alexis Harrington, and this has been Everyone's Gay, a look into queer history. We only have 2 episodes left in this season, and I am so excited to share them with you. We'll see you next time.